Hey everybody, this is me, Undead Viking. I want to take some time out of your day to tell you about this game. It's called Nightmare Forest. As you can probably guess by the name and the spooky-looking creatures with the glowing eyes on the cover, this is a horror type game, and it is a horror survival game. This is a game that 2 to 6 of you will be racing through the Nightmare Forest as the zombie monsters are tracking you down and eating you alive. This is not a cooperative game. This is a highly competitive game, and it is kind of a push your luck dice game as you are trying to use the least amount of dice possible to get past the challenges, which are zombies and other mishaps that happen in the forest. So you can have more dice left over so you can continue to try to get through these cards that represent the challenges. And there's a long string of cards that you'll work your way through as kind of like making your way through the forest as you race everybody else. Only one person can win. The first person that escapes the forest escapes and wins, and everybody else becomes zombie food. So why don't I show you how to play Nightmare Forest, and then we'll come back here and I'll talk more about why I've had fun playing this one. Alright, awesome. This is Nightmare Forest, and this is my prototype that I was sent. Now, keep that in mind, so like when the game does come out, the cards or the dice or what have you might not look exactly like what you're seeing in front of you, but my understanding is that this is a pretty high-level, top-end prototype that they sent me, so it's going to look a lot like what you're seeing in front of you. Also, when I set up the game, it looks a little bit differently than when the setup says. The setup says you're supposed to put the cards end to end like this. However, that would make the row of cards super long, and I wouldn't be able to show you all of them. So I went ahead and kind of laid them on their side there. Alright, so, but not that it affects gameplay in any way, because basically what happens is that each player has their little camper card, and the idea is that you're all in Nightmare Forest, and all of a sudden the animals of the forest are zombies, and they are chasing you down and trying to eat you. And you're starting in your campground, which is over here, and you're trying to make it to the road, which is over here. And each person is going to be racing up their row of cards, trying to be the first person to get to the end, because the person who gets to the end actually gets saved, and everybody else gets to be eaten by zombies. So, to begin the game, each person is going to get one gear card to start with, and you get more as the game goes on. And each person during the level 1 row has access to 4 dice on their turn. When you get to level 2, you'll notice that there's this little level 1, level 2 thing. When you get to the level 2 of the forest, you get an extra die to roll, and you get to draw a gear card. And the same thing happens when you go from level 2 to level 3, and then finally when you're facing the level 4 challenge from level 3 to level 4, you'll have an extra die as well, and that means that you will have 7 total dice. Now, the way this works is that on your turn, the first thing you have to do is, well, unless you already have a card flipped over, you're going to like flip the card over. So if I was playing Mark here, and these are just names and pictures, you know, there's no difference between Mark and Mary here at all. It's just the person that's representing you. So what happens is, on your turn, what you do is you're going to flip a card over and you're going to see what you're going to face. And so in this case, we have a gopher, a zombie gopher, and he has a strength of 2. And then there's some cool little, it says this is a zombie, and there's some cool little thing here. He isn't alright, and you better worry about you. So, you know, so it's like, you know, the gopher, you know, the Caddyshack reference, you know, I'm alright. Nobody's right. Anyway, so you have a gopher, and then you have your dice. And so what happens with this is that you have to decide how many of these dice you want to roll that you think are going to take to defeat a gopher. Now on these dice there are some blank spots, as you can see, and then there's these spots that have 1 like hit, and then there's this 1 spot on the die that has 2 hits. And so, you know, if you're thinking, well, if luck's with me, you can say, I'm going to roll 2 dice, I'm going to hope I don't get any blanks, and I'm going to hope that I kill that gopher. So you're going to roll the 2 dice, and I lucked out actually. I got a blank, but I got here with 2 hits. And then so I'd kill the gopher, like so, and then Mark would move up 1 slot. Well, now I still have 2 dice left over. And so then I can say, I can flip this, or right now, if I want to, I could search for gear. Now, when you search for gear, you just say, I'm going to, and you can't if you flipped a card over to show a zombie, you have to fight it at least once and attempt to fight it. You can't search for gear. But so like, now I can say, well, I'm going to roll 1 die, and I want to see if I search for gear. Now if I get any hits, if I get a hit, I get to draw 1 card from the gear deck. If I get the 2 hit, I get to draw 2 cards and pick one. If I draw a blank, I get nothing. So I'm going to roll, and I got a hit. So I'm going to draw a card here. And now, here, I'll just take an extra one too, because remember, you start with 1. So Mark had a energy drink. Discard to reroll up to 2 dice of your choice. But my second thing here I picked up is a tent spike. And so this is a weapon, obviously. And you're going to see that this is the damage it does. 1. And it says, will hold your tent and enemies down. And so it has a one-handed weapon, and it is unlimited. It's not a gun. It doesn't have. It has unlimited ammo. You notice that there's this little ear thing over here as well. That means how much noise it makes. I'll show you some other weapons in the cards in the deck here in just a little bit. But basically, what happens if you have like a like level 1 or level 2 or level 3 in the noise that your weapons make, there's a chance that you will summon other zombies to come and fight you and try to kill you. And like with a level 1 noisy weapon, you roll 1 die, and if you got a hit, you'd get 1. And if on level, with level 2. It's a hit and also a double hit will result in a zombie showing up, and with a level 3 you just get a zombie. The zombie hears it because you're like chasing people down with a chainsaw and it's super loud, and people are going to come after you. So what the way weapons work is that you can use them once on your turn, and but they are a guaranteed hit. So now that I've got 1 die left, because I've used up the 1 to search, we'll turn this card over, see what we get. So we have a squirrel. And so it says squirrel, it has 2 health, and it says moose, that trick never works. Anyway, so Rocky and Bullwinkle, anyone? Anyway, so I have a level 2 there, so I'm going to try for it, and I'm going to use my tent spike that I got. So if I get at least a hit, I'll take care of the squirrel. We'll see what happens. Okay, perfect, good, I'm glad I can show you this. So I didn't get it. So I have 1 hit, and this doesn't go away, because remember, it's unlimited. But it's got a strength of 2. Now, zombies don't carry over damage. You're not going to put any damage on there. Next turn, I'm going to face a strength 2 squirrel again. That's nothing. But, unfortunately, I'm going to take a hit. And I'm going to put a hit on Mark to show that. Now, depending on the difficulty of the game, normally it takes 5 hits, and then you're dead. And if you're dead, obviously you're out of the game. The other thing is that if you're playing a speedier game, you can lower that down to 3 with the speed game, which like kind of cuts the forest in half, and so you don't have as much to deal with. So after your turn's done, you'll go over to the other person, and then they'll do the same exact thing, where they're going to turn cards over. So the guy playing Adam, he gets a Groundhog, level 2. If you see a shadow, you have 6 more seconds to life, so things like that. And this is a very, very like humorous game. It's they're not trying to be like super serious, but it's one of those games that it challenges you to immerse yourself in the theme, if you will. So let me just show you some of the other cards, because it isn't all zombie animals that you fight. I just, of course, have to find one. Now you'll have some things like this where it says like overgrown, and so this is a spot where it just stops you. There's no zombie here, but you have to clear the space, and so you have to get 3 successive hits to do it, or there are certain items like a machete, so to speak, that can clear an overgrown area like that. Also, there are item caches as well. If you uncover an item cache, the card will look like this, and it'll have a little toolboxes or luggage there, and it says you add a Zone 1 zombie to the space, in which case you'll just draw a Zone 1 zombie off the top. So like you draw this one and you get a ferret. Ooh, he's kind of scary looking. Often mistaken for a weasel, a fatal mistake. Okay, so then you put that on there, so you have to fight the ferret and you have to destroy it. But once you do, then you have to get 2 successes, and then there's like a crowbar item as well that'll open it up as well. To open the cache, if you want, you can open the cache and you gain 2 gear cards. So just you open it up and you're going to get more gear for that. So, as I said, it isn't all nasty, evil zombie creatures that you're going to be fighting as it goes along. Now, obviously, as I said, so like if the next turn Mark defeated that, he would get to this spot, and then he would get that extra die. So now he would have 5 dice to roll, and he'd get a free gear card. Let's see what he'd get. He would get... oh, cool. He got a compound bow. So, like, you notice this has no... it still doesn't make any noise. It does 2 damage, and you can see it has 2 hits. So, like, if the first one, you can put a marker on it, or it says there on the bottom, you turn the card 180, and then the next time you use it, it's gone. And you'll also notice that this one takes 2 hands. Now, you can... the rules do allow you to use weapons in both of your hands. So, if I manage to get... let me see here. Let me grab, like... this hammer. So let's say you had this hammer, and you also, and Mark still had his tent spike that he used. Both of these are one-handed weapons, and he could go ahead and use them, and then he could add 2 to the combat. But remember, you can only use them once. You can't just keep using them over and over again. So once you use them, you'd have to get like, you couldn't use them on, if you go to the next card, you couldn't use them in your next battle. Now, as the game continues, you move up, so you can kind of fight tougher thing. There's a sheep, strength 4, a raven, strength 4, an alpaca, strength 5, and you're going to be going forward like this. Now you might be thinking, well, if somebody just gets lucky and they're getting ahead of you, what are you going to do? Well, they do actually have, as the old saying goes, I don't have to outrun the zombies, I just have to outrun you. So let's just say the game's progressed like so, and let's just go ahead and put, let's say, Bailey over here in the end's done really well, and she's gotten this far, like so. So, if you are behind and you think that somebody's getting close to winning, what you can do is you can throw an item at them. And you can only throw at somebody that is ahead of you. So Mark could throw at Bailey. Bailey couldn't throw at anybody. Adam and Marie could throw it at either Mark or Bailey, but they couldn't throw at each other. And if there was somebody behind you, you can't throw at them, obviously. If you throw an item, you have to discard the item. So, like, if you threw a bow, you can't wait till you use up the bow and then throw it. You have to throw while it's still usable. Like, if you threw the bow at somebody, you're not, like, tripping them up, but what you're doing is that you throw it, and as long as you don't get a blank, I got a thing, so, like, if Mark threw his bow at Bailey, you draw a zombie in Bailey's spot. That's a hidden cache. You draw a zombie, and you do have to get a zombie. You draw a zombie, and that would slow her down because she can't get any further until she's dealt with the ferret. Now, she might have a lot of equipment that'll allow her to take care of that ferret and be done with it, but she still has to use up her dice before she gets done with that, and then couldn't flip over the last card, in which case this would be like a strength 8 python zombie that she'd have to fight. And so you have, like I said, you have the ability to affect other people as they're playing. There's also an item within the deck that is, I'm sorry, that's not gear. There's an item within the gear deck that allows you to steal items from other people. Let me see if I can find one. It's like a pair of gloves. Ah, here we go. So, and this one allows you to swap one of your weapons from another player's revealed weapon. So, like, and I should mention that you keep gear cards face down in front of you. You know what they are, and then you turn them over when you decide you use them. That is how you protect yourself from having them stolen, because you can't steal a card that hasn't been shown. So in this situation, what happens is, if Bailey fights the python and defeats it, Bailey would make it to the road, and she would win, and everybody else would lose. If you have a situation where everybody else gets killed, and you are the last person left alive, you basically, if you're going to win, you don't just automatically win in this situation. Mark would he'd have 2 rounds, 2 turns to get through here and get through here. And then, however many cards you have left, that's how many turns you have to get through those spots. Otherwise, all the zombies, basically, who are chasing the other people down, realize you're the last person alive, and they all gang up on you and eat you. And so that's how you play. That's how you play Nightmare Forest. Only one person can win. It's not cooperative. It is ruthless. It has teeth, if you will, and that's no pun intended, because obviously zombie teeth. But it is a game of lots of pushing your luck, rolling the dice, and curse words being thrown at people as they're tripping you up by throwing their energy drinks and compound bows at you just to slow you down. But let me tell you more about Nightmare Forest in my conclusion. Alright, you should have a really good idea of how to escape a forest while being chased by dead zombie animals at this point. This game is everything that I like in the game of this genre that I enjoy. I grew up on games like this. Games that were in the middle of, like, Dragon Magazine that you could cut out and play. Games that, you know, we're serious. I mean, I'm not going to say this. The game doesn't take itself seriously. I mean, but the little jokes and the little funny comments and the fact that you and the other players are basically at each other's throats the entire game, trying to outdo each other. And I am a big fan of push your luck games. I enjoy weighing the odds as far as my success versus failure and how many, like, what are the chances that I'm going to be able to succeed at action X, and is it worth it for me at this point to take a chance? And so I do like that. I love the idea of, like, one person, because inevitably there's usually like one or two people that, like, seem to get the good card or seem to get the lucky roll, and they start moving a little faster than everybody else, and that just puts that pressure on everybody else, that kind of, like, the hand on your back as you're, like, trying to push it, even though you've got, like, 3 wounds on you and you're facing, like a strength 5 zombie alpaca. It's like, well, geez, on 3 dice I could get 5 hits. It's possible, and you start thinking, well, I might as well take a chance. And of course you fail, or if it's me anyway, you fail. But when you actually succeed and you roll, like, 2 double hits and a normal hit or something like that, or even if you have, like, a dagger or a knife, I should say, and you have that one, you only need the 4 hits or whatever, that's like, you're like, yeah! And you cheer, and you kind of get up from the table, and you feel pretty excited, and then you hope somebody else, throws a med pack at somebody and summons a zombie, so slows them down that's in front of them. And this is a game about cheering yourself on and cursing your friend's luck. And, and it isn't a long game, because of the fact that it's, like, kind of a short little path you're getting through the forest. A lot of games like this, they do have a problem where it's like, this isn't a game that should last, maybe not even 30 minutes, because that's, like, it clocks in right around 20 to 30 minutes, especially if everybody knows how to play. This isn't a game like that sticks around longer than it should, if you will. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's that perfect level of game that I need when I can kind of pretty much turn my brain off, but enjoy the company of my friends and enjoy the excitement of watching the dice rolls, because there's something great about where they're like, they need 3 hits, and you're like, and you see them and they roll, and then everybody's, like, counting up the hits on the dice, and, like, you all come to the same conclusion at the same time, and that's, like, the cheering and the agony defeat, and you know what I mean. That awesome moment, and that's, like, what gaming is for games like this for me. Those little awesome moments, those glimpses of success or failure that the entire table enjoys in, on either end of the seesaw, if you will. So, for that reason, and for a lot of other reasons, I just really had a lot of fun playing Nightmare Forest, and I think if you're the kind of person that grew up on this type of game like I did, that you like a push your luck game, if you like a crazy theme with a lot of little jokes and funniness on the cards, because I didn't show you all the cards, but there's little tiny jokes in each one, and they are clever. After, like, the 10th time of reading them, they aren't clever anymore, but it's still it's got a cool theme, it's got a cool idea. It could have been so easy for them just to make them normal zombies, but to make them, like, these cute little fuzzy creatures, and make them zombies instead, is awesome. There's, like, a zombie chicken in the game, and there is, if I can find it here, there is a zombie mouse in the game, and there is a zombie snail in the game, and the zombie snail has the best line. It says, "It's coming for you, and it's coming for you, and it's coming for you." So the idea that, yes, there's a snail that is using a skull for a shell, and that's just pretty cool. And the art is really awesome in this game. Oh, I should have mentioned one thing. There are these people you can pick up. Like, here, this little dog, Sophie. You can actually discover like, other people in the forest that if you help them and they bring them with, she can, like, Sophie can attack and do 1 hit, or you can have her run away and then you get to discard a hit. And I should have mentioned that as well. There are items in the deck that, one, heal you, like a med kit, but also there's items in the deck like the top of a trash can lid that you can discard that is going to do away with one of the hits, the damage that you're going to take. So there's other cards and stuff like that as well. I forgot to mention those, and I'm glad I remembered them at this point. So there you go. If you have any questions about Nightmare Forest, I'll be happy to answer those to the best of my ability. Thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I am the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.